second. Dap put low, and he'll be finished off by Poise. It's all over but Android's attempt at this point. We'll see if he can ace it with 19 seconds to go. But I don't see it as especially likely. Flanking Leaf, he will get one. Almost a second on the Poise. There it is, the double headshot. But Mitch will shut him down. C9 Blue confidently take round number 1.
Honestly, a valiant effort with the Ghost, but like I've said before, even if you're trading off, it doesn't matter if you trade out 1 or 2, or you're able to engage in a 1vx. The problem was that C9 had you in a corner. It was a 1v5. Your position was known. You have to go through with utility if they don't all peek you. And at some point, C9 are going to wait to see if you can possibly get the objective down. And if not, then you're going to have to try to find them before that timer elapses. And in this case, C9 just sent one player out and that was it.
I have to commend... Oh, hang on. Speaking of the aggression from C9, they're pushing out of A. They don't care where they're pushing out as long as they could do it together as a team, and it works out once again. I was going to say I have to commend the aggression from C9 in round number 1. They're doing it again in round number 2, and it keeps working until Tex finally gets a kill. Down goes Leaf, and that might be a Spectre pickup.
Doesn't know if he has anybody from above. Poise has started off this game on a much stronger note than we saw on the first map. And I mean, we didn't have a ton of time to discuss Poise's potential impact, but when you're playing on this duelist and you're usually one of the first players into the site, you're going to need to hit your shots or at least try to make space for your team. Tex, on the other hand, well, he doesn't necessarily need to make space at the moment, but he's punishing every single member of Cloud9 that steps in his line of sight. Oh, wait, he'll back up. Small backpedal and a heal because he is quite low. NRG are going to play this one quite slowly as they continue to back up, trying to bait C9 into a trap, potentially.
I like the calm here from NRG. They're using the time, the clock to their advantage to try and bait out a rotation from C9 Blue. It's not working out, though, because Zeta is by mid, and he's calling that rotation. He knows if it's going to be happening. And C9 have done a great job of being aware of their positioning so far, so they're not going to overstep. Wait, no, I spoke too soon. A little bit of an overstep and too much of a rotation. Poise is still back sight, though. He can do some work here.
And he's going to do just that. He peeks out, gets traded out by Tex. Third kill on the round, can't net a fourth. Zeta ultimately finishes that one off. And after a win on the pistols, they carry that through to the second round. Spectres in hand. And Cloud9 Blue are up 2-0.
Yeah, but at the same time, so much economy damage done there by NRG. So that was not a terrible round for them. They're going to be able to bring nearly a full buy. There is, of course, going to be a Bulldog here for EU. That's not terrible, though. He can make some work happen with that for sure. Now, the aggression from Cloud9, we've seen it 2 rounds in a row. They push out B first round, push out A second round. Question is, are they going to keep on doing that? I seriously doubt it now that we're on the buy round.
Well, we'll find out, as it looks like the drone will scout ahead. NRG's focus is over towards the B site, and, well, they've got a Viper to cut off line of sight when needed, and the Sage Wall for what has become a very default plant for a lot of teams here, and the Sage is set up and prepped just for that exact moment. It's a bit of a different wall than we've seen before, this one stretching towards yellow instead of parallel to it. Mitch will gun down Psalm. Android, amidst the leer, he finds a single kill onto Floppy, looking above, but he gets swung on and punished for it. It's Tex now in a 1v4 as Cloud9 Blue continue this advantage, and Tex is not able to bring anybody down with him before Zeta jumps into his gaze. That's 3 in a row for Cloud9.
Wow. A lot of trips there for NRG. The wall went up before the spike was in a position to be planted because it was on the wrong person. Android had it for a while when he shouldn't have. Which means now Tex, I mean, like, look at them. Just not able to do anything there. There was no ability to plant as the wall was destroyed by C9 Blue too quickly in that take, and there was just too much hesitation on NRG. Also, the toxic screen from NRG was great and all by B. It cut off the rotation, except for it didn't. Normally, when you see a toxic screen, there's another Viper to, throw down a counter toxic screen, and then you've got a retake, but everyone's blind. This time, that round, C9 Blue, they didn't need that toxic screen. They just took out, they walked out guns blazing and managed to win all their gunfights. And I mean, I think that's been part of the story here for C9 through this map.
Well, you'd mentioned the economy not getting much better for NRG, and well, this round is a rough one too, as they've only found a single kill. Now, mind you, it is on to Leaf. He has his ultimate available. Floppy dropped by EU. Boy's able to grab him from the back, and down goes EU, leaving Tex in a clutch or kick situation. My oh my. How he's been able to play with that Sheriff so far over these two maps has been quite impressive, and he can still do some more damage. He gets spotted though, so the jig is up. And he's got the Vandal in the hands, but not able to do anything past that. Mitch deep in the sight, looks upwards off to where Tex had been spotted, and it's yet another round for Cloud9 Blue.
That could have been a much better opportunity by mid, but the boombot from Leaf was perfectly placed to actually get his own refrag. So I think that C9 Blue actually left a couple gaps there in their defense. They were aware of the situation, but that could have gone much worse for them. They ultimately won the round, so, I mean, what can you really critique? The entry from NRG, a little bit slow to follow itself up as well. Now we're going to see an operator, I believe. Yep, brought out by Mitch on the Sage, holding on B long. Now he's got to destroy the Owl Drone. He does have Floppy to support him on the push, so he's not too vulnerable here.
He pulls this one back out. Floppy in a position that you are not going to be unaware of, but nobody bothers to check. Tex in particular tends to be the casualty, and there you go. Some scouting done as the dog is shot forward from Sky, but nothing really else that Psalm can do. C9 have them lined up in their sights, and this push has all but faltered. EU, if you are unsuccessful, your team goes down 0-5. You're going to have to start now. You've been able to punish Floppy, do some more damage to their economy, take away their abilities.
Yeah.
50 seconds,
we'll see we'll see what EU can do with 50 seconds. What I want to highlight through that round was the way that Floppy and Mitch played that. You could tell that, I mean, it's an Omen and a Sage. They could have thrown down walls. They could have thrown down smokes, but they did neither of those things. No economy damage done by EU, by the way. They did neither of those things. Floppy and Mitch just kept their guns up. Now, we did see a slow from Mitch, of course, but they were maintaining their lines of sight and allowing for plays like this one you're about to see from Floppy to happen. Beautiful stuff. Nice transfer there. And I think that aggression from C9 and that awareness that, hey, we could cut off the angles, we could stop them with the smoke, but we don't have to, or a wall, is beautiful. I love the awareness. And on top of that, after C9 got those early picks, yeah, they lost Floppy, but after that were like, yeah, just fall back. We don't have to take this aggressive play on long.
I didn't see any real clear work there from NRG as well when they pushed towards B. They didn't check to the left, they didn't check to the right. I don't think they had much intel outside of the fact that there was an op playing over by yellow. So other than that, you are pushing in at your peril. And yet again, NRG finds themselves in a rough spot. They're not unarmed, but unless you can put these sheriffs to good use, you are going to be at a very big disadvantage. Poise starts things off with the very first kill, but he's removed from play by Psalm, and finally NRG gets a lead when it comes to the kill feed. It's only for a moment though, as Floppy in the midst of the all cleans up. 3 kills for him, and Cloud9 Blue look indomitable.
GK be damned for Floppy as he is just able to land his shots. Love it. C9 Blue, I think the word you used was indomitable. I think we could say that that's fair right now. Might see things change as the halves swap, but NRG definitely need to get a few more rounds here if they want to have any hope of taking this map in this series. Now, the rotations for C9 Blue have been a little bit on the slower side, but at the same time, it's not really mattering because your initial hold is doing so much work. I wonder if we're going to see any good fake-out play from NRG. This is the first round we're seeing them vie for mid-control, and it'll actually work as Mitch goes down on the other side of Tube. So that's a really good entry for NRG, and now they have, or feels like the first time, a decided advantage early in a round.
Hard to tell if that was just a blind pre-fire through the poison cloud, but Daps, who'd used his abilities to try and give his team some cover and some support as they push towards B, will find his end. 4v4 as this is a quiet take from NRG, and they'll creep up like church mice. Out goes the Sky Seekers as a recon dart comes down to try and give some information. Ice wall blocking C9 from being able to punish Tex, who's going for the spike, and it gets down quite successfully before Spray from Poise nets the kill they need. Now posted up over by yellow and completely isolated. Android, paranoia, he can't see anything. So out goes the boom bot. Leaf needs to be quick, but he gets distracted as the bot blows up in his face. Android now, he's unshakable, looking for all 5 kills in the round. Out go the paint shells, and he gets swung on. Floppy denies the ace, and should have plenty of time as well for this spike. The best effort from NRG ultimately comes up short, and they have yet to find a single round on their map, Icebox.
Oh, that went so bad for NRG for so many reasons. Number one, Daps was the first person to die. That means your toxic screen is not going up. On a B take, that makes it so difficult to get the spike down. Now, eventually NRG did get the spike down thanks to the wall from Sage. However, despite getting that spike down, you've also put your Sage as the one to plant it. And Hex had res. He probably was not the right decision there as the planter. Playing post plant with that res would have helped out quite a lot, probably. EU didn't manage to get his Hunter's Fury off. So we were missing a lot of potential in that round for NRG. And being that they are 7-0 right now, 6-0 in the previous round, that was the round that was so pivotal. They needed to take it. Luckily, because they're losing so much, they are able to mostly buy this round.
Well, they're going to need some guns to hit because one of those 3 Vandals is now removed from action. Make that 2. The last one in the hands of Android. He's going to need to do some serious damage. They find 2 kills, though. It's with utility, but it doesn't really matter what you manage to do it with. So back to a 3v3. This has been a quick round. NRG are trying to hasten the pace, I believe, because they want to catch C9 flat-footed. Eventually, at some point, NRG is going to win a round. The question just becomes when.
Well, it might be now, but it's going to be it's going to remain an A contact here. No rotation. No screen again, but Mitch will land the operator shot lead off on this engagement. Spectre in hand for EU, and he's looking for the fight. He'll find it. Mitch goes down. Now it's all Leaf, and he's low already. The shock dart. Oh boy, insult to injury there. EU plays that masterfully. And finally, NRG will find the board.
Caster's Curse comes through, Michael. As I said, they have to win a round eventually. When is it? The answer was that round. So I think the key to success is just constantly judging NRG and doubting them. And the moment that I say any words of doubt, then they are able to prove me wrong. Impressive round, by the way, from EU. Those shock darts claimed 2 of his 3 kills on the round, showing that even though he was armed with an SMG, with the Spectre, it didn't necessarily impact the round, that he wasn't as well kitted in terms of firepower as the rest of his team.
Well, this is another aggressive push-up from C9 Blue, and it's not going to work out great as Leaf, the first casualty, is not responded directly to. And until it is, look at that, Poison Zeta coming alive. Now, Som does have the operator, and he is playing pretty aggressively, so he can make some work happen. On top of Pipes, Android challenging over the wall, finally getting that wall broken, and Mitch will go down through it, in fact. 2 versus 2 in this situation. Floppy does have the ult if this is a rotation, but I don't think NRG is likely to rotate.
Som gives Android a little bit of his life back, and more power to him as he can shrug off a couple more bullets than previously. They were able to clear out that A site quite effectively. Android in particular able to quarterback the push, watching the ice wall and removing the bits of utilities and abilities that were brought out from Cloud9 Blue. The C9 have now pushed back. They have ceded control of the site. Omen is going to watch the flank potentially from mid, or at least a split push from mid, as the spike is within the grasps of NRG. The worry for them is that they have no idea if Cloud9 Blue know that that spike is down. What a nice peek from Som, hitting Poison, punishing him for it. Floppy is at full HP. He's still got 2 smokes available as well. And Som looks the wrong way, but Android knows where he is. It doesn't matter. Floppy the clutch. And it's another round for Cloud9 Blue.
Floppy has just not been missing his shots. And I was going to talk about this earlier, Parker, because you said that it's how we correct NRG's course. Daps and Som are having a really rough match so far. And I mean, now that maybe we talk about it, maybe that'll change. But right now, C9 Blue, with that advantage in terms of potential, and Floppy and Poise right now landing their shots so consistently, it's been really tough for NRG to make anything happen. Another thing, NRG has been consistently going for A and not rotating off of it when they have the opportunity, because the spike keeps getting dropped, and it keeps getting dropped in positions that are difficult to retrieve it in, which wastes so much time. They need to figure out who's carrying that spike so they can be better in those situations.
Oh, there go the Sky Seekers yet again for NRG, hoping to give them intel as Android just bops his way in. And he's going to continue to push up, taking as much ground away from C9 as possible. He lets the Reyna go past because he knows that Mitch is the target he wants the most, but Leaf is able to outduel him as the paint shells soar over his shoulder. Spike is planted successfully, so now Cloud9 Blue have the timer working against them. Tech sees that Psalm has been blinded by that paranoia and will now try to slow down any member from C9 who pushes in that direction. Will he be able to stop Leaf? That's the question, because the showstopper's out and a blind fire will go in, but it does not connect the way it necessarily wants. It does actually. A bit of a delayed reaction taking out EU. Daps will need to pick up the Vandal and make as much damage as they can, but the spike gets defused at the last second. And even though he gets a pick onto Floppy, it doesn't matter because the round goes to C9 Blue.
I mean, that's great that there's a Vandal salvage there for NRG. It's something. But once again, Leaf is the real player I want to highlight through that round. I thought since the Toxic Screen nullified the paranoia that we would see a really, I guess, distant retake for C9. They weren't able to engage the way they wanted to initially. But because of Leaf's aggression, using those blast packs to jump to yellow, and great use of the showstopper as well, and just winning his fights, they were able to finally retake yellow and then get control of that engagement. Great play from C9 Blue.
And there's a showstopper out from Android trying to make space, but it misses. Oh no, and it's Leaf able to drive down on him. Psalm gets a kill onto Poised. Is it Zeta technically credited with the kill onto Android? 3v3, site control for NRG, but the spike has been surrendered at this point. There will be no plant for them. Psalm's able to flush out Leaf, but Mitch has his teammates back, leaving Daps far afield, not necessarily as close to the action as he can be. He takes down Leaf. That's a hot hand for Cloud9 that is no longer on the board. Keep in mind, Daps has the spike, so he will potentially fake a push over towards the B site, and some of his utility will go off as well.
Love the use of the Viper's screen there. That's going to allow him to plant. He might have used it a little bit too early, though. He does have Viper's Pit, luckily, and it's going to go off. That'll prompt C9 Blue to rotate. They were expecting Daps to stay because NRG consistently does stay by A, but this time he had the spike in hand, so Daps made the play he thought best.
Zeta and Mitch are going to have to play this post extraordinarily carefully because Daps has the intel, whereas they don't. Zeta doesn't have anything left. Mitch is still capable, by the way, of a heal, so if any action does occur, they'll need to do something with it. DK starting to chunk away at the HP, and I think Daps knows this. As a blind fire goes in, he takes out the Sage, and they manage to get it as Daps' spray connects with both Mitch as well as Zeta. I like the craftiness from him to grab that spike and get out of there as quickly as he could. He picks off Leaf and immediately rotates, using, as you said, using that toxic screen to conceal where the plant was going down and then perfectly timing the Viper's Pit.
Now, it's been Daps and Tex, Daps and Tex, Daps and Tex for VCT Stage 2 Challengers Week 2 for the most part. But today, at least right now, it's mostly Daps. Question is, will Tex be able to wake up as we go into the second half? Because that might make all the difference. So far, C9 are getting all the rounds they need and then some. And look at this Hunter's Fury. It'll get 2 kills onto NRG. Now, Tex does have the res, so he's going to be able to bring Som back into the battle. But that is still effective use of the utility from C9 Blue and Zeta in particular.
They get the one pick, immediately retreat. And Android has been the standout performer on these attacking pushes. The way that he is able to very quickly get in. But oh no, Daps will catch Zeta from the back. Trigger discipline. Nobody spots him. His position now known as he'll try to get back to Kitchen. But could he provoke a fight to Leaf? He does. Leaf hasn't been missing his shots so far today. And that's unlucky for Daps. His NRG's focus from the A site has now moved over towards B, and they are going to be quick about it, trying to gain intel, and the spike in the hands of Som. Going for the plant. Mitch is lined up watching yellow. Do they know exactly where this op is? Well, down goes Som. Floppy traded out. Leaf right now is just on an absolute tear. EU will have his owl drone to gain intel, and he knows that he's about to get overrun. Out goes one dart, flicks onto Leaf, but no. Poise. And the remainder of Cloud9 Blue, which in this instance is Mitch getting the spike, will take the round. And that is the first half, 10-2 for Cloud9 Blue.
Well, it's pretty dominant there. Cloud9 Blue looking fantastic on the defense. Their rotations were great. That last round, Floppy was the one to save it. Now, we didn't actually see his effect over saving the round, but Cloud9 Blue were already rotating to A, expecting it to be a hard A push. And Floppy heard the aggression in B main and called the rotation back to B for his team. So really important call there. And that's a big part of why C9 were in a good position to retake in the close plant. What a good half for C9. And I wonder, I mean, it's not inconceivable that NRG starts the comeback here, especially on Icebox. It could be a somewhat rigid map overall, but it's not going to be an easy journey.
I will say that if you look at yesterday's matchup, it did end up going into a late game. It required 23 rounds, but I mean, NRG started on attack and Immortals was very strong on that defense. NRG took 4 rounds on attack. Now, obviously that is trailing the pace, or at least today they are trailing the pace that they set yesterday. So Cloud9 Blue comes out a little bit ahead. But these pistol rounds can be so pivotal. If Cloud9 Blue is able to win the pistol round, they are only 2 away from shutting this down entirely. And with the way that the economy system works, that could be the game. Now, Cloud9 Blue have an advantage, but Psalm takes it away before Zeta grabs it right back. So Daps in a 1v2. They know how crucial this is. Zeta getting the spike down. There it goes. Daps is at full HP, light armor. He'll continue to come back. He's still got some utility, by the way. So he can use those at his discretion. He's up in heaven, about to hit catwalk. He sees Poise. Poise turns around and pivots, and a shot from Poise lands. That's unlucky for Daps. A couple misses is all it takes. And the pistol round goes to C9 yet again.
I mean, no pressure on Daps there, to be honest. The likelihood of him winning that is already still pretty low, so it's not too stressful. Though that is the difference maker. As you talked about, Parker, C9 Blue now at 11 rounds. They are 1 away from match point. This could be pretty over pretty quick. There are going to be, of course, as a result, 2 marshals being brought on NRG's side, as well as 3 sheriffs. They don't really have a choice. If they let this go too much further, then they'll be too far against the wall and won't have any real chance of making the comeback happen. So it's a committed push on a site for C9, and Android leads things off with a great shot onto Poise. That is a great player to eliminate early on.
Poise has obviously been feeling it after that sluggish start that he had on the very first map. Daps losing his battle with the Sheriff in hand to Zeta, and Marshall for Android still there, ready to greet anybody who pushes the A site. Good news for NRG is that I would argue that Tex has probably been the most efficient today on the Magnum. So having that access to better firearms is great, but Tex hasn't needed it just yet with how much damage he's been able to do from the Sheriff. Mitch will fall off as the spike looked to be getting planted, but for now, no. Waiting very patiently. There's one from Mitch. Spectre taking out EU. And now Mitch looking for another up on the ice wall, but no, it's NRG to take control of the kill feed, though yet they still trail. They've traded out, but it leaves Psalm with just 20 HP to go up against the last 2 members of C9 Blue, and additionally, the spike as well, which starts to get planted, doesn't quite make it. It's in Leaf's hands. A single shot will kill both of these players, especially if Psalm is capable of hitting it. Well, he's got that Marshall, looking longingly for the Sova of Zeta to peek out. A game of cat and mouse, good patience. Onto the rope he goes. He sees the foot for a second, nails it. His position, though, known. Leaf just needs to wait. And Leaf is going to look one way and shut the door on a potential NRG comeback. It's match point for Cloud9 Blue already, Michael.
Beautiful play there from Leaf in the post plant. I really like that what we saw from NRG in terms of trying to stop the spike plant. You gotta love their commitment there. They actually managed it, but unfortunately Cloud9 Blue read that really well. Every time NRG would come in for a push to try and stop the plant, Cloud9 would punish, and the trades inevitably went the way of Cloud9 because of their awareness and their superior firearms. And you were right, Tex is a player that's been landing his shots with the Sheriffs throughout the day, but unfortunately he only managed to get 1 in that engagement. So yeah, it happens. But now, with it limited by, NRG are trying their best to force this round out, and Android's aggression at least will get the leadoff kill onto Poise, but C9 lost Poise last round and they still managed to win. They might be able to do that again here.
And there you go. Down goes Tex. That is damaging. Leaf has been so good so far today. He's blind. He'll drop, and down goes the Seeker in front of his eyes. Blinded immediately again. He's in the epicenter as NRG's numbers are getting whittled away. Spike planted now, so NRG will need to panic and scramble to try and retake the site that they've just lost control of, knowing full well that the lower bracket awaits them if they are unsuccessful. Around this ice wall, there's a small opening, and C9 knows it and will use it to their advantage, with Mitch taking 2 members down. That's all he's going to be able to get. Oh, because it's a big play from EU to pummel C9. Doesn't matter. Zeta gets it. Confusing end there as C9 are able to take back.